Hey, what's up, you guys? It's another week of Ring of Honor, and I had to address the elephant in the room during this episode. The episode did start off with pretty much of a full audience. Now, what I do know is that they tape Ring of Honor around Collision. They did start off taping the full show before Collision, and now I'm hearing that they tape a portion of it before Collision and the rest of it after Collision. So, somewhere in the middle of the show, you went from having what seemed to be somewhat of a full crowd to only having the first three rows filled with people and nothing else after that. I know they tried to darken the arena so that you couldn't really tell, but there's just no way to hide it. And I felt like, holy shit, it looked bad. I do think that they would definitely benefit by going right back to Orlando, going back to Universal Studios and taping their shows there. At least they can have a fuller, engaged audience with them throughout the show, and it would make the show feel and look better this way. I think I understand why they're doing it this way, trying to tape it around Collision. They want the feel of a big arena, a larger audience. But then again, you're taping it in front of three rows full of people. It did not look good at all, especially since there were some great matches and just not enough people there to enjoy them. It sucks. Now, let's get into this review. First match of the night, we had Eddie Kingston versus Serpentico. When I heard this, I was like, this is a mistake, right? Okay, so the title was not on the line, and this was a super quick match. I didn't see the point of this. We didn't even really need to have this. Now, after Eddie takes the win, here comes Angelico. Angelico and Serpentico, they're part of the Spanish Announce Project. And after the match, Eddie Kingston go to go shake Serpentico's hand. However, Angelico is blocking it. And I'm like, well, why is he getting in the way? You don't want him to shake his hand? Now, Serpentico, Angelico, and Eddie, they're all friends. However, Angelico's feeling some type of way after he just beat down Serpentico, and now he wants a title shot. And Eddie's giving him that opportunity. They don't confirm when, but they say in the future. And now Angelico is somehow in a quest to the World Heavyweight title. This is just really, really weird. It doesn't even feel like he's earned it. Now, granted, ever since Dark and Dark Elevation been over in Ring of Honor, Angelico has actually been winning some matches, unlike when he was on the other show. But that still doesn't show why he should earn a title shot. So, yeah, I didn't really care about that. Now, up next, we had tag team action with the Gates of Agony with Prince Nana versus Fresco and Watson. They are part of the group Lights Camera faction. Now, there are four of them, but only two of them are legally supposed to be in the ring. However, Gates of Agony ended up taking care of all four of them and ended up taking the win. And when I see this and I see how dominant Gates of Agony are, I'm kind of sad that MJF is holding the tag titles hostage right now. We really need to focus on giving titles to people who are going to be defending it. Now, MJF, you're my scumbag, but you definitely don't need those Ring of Honor tag titles. So up next, we have a Proving Grounds match for the women's title. We had Athena versus Maserati. Now, Maserati's tactic in this match was, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to just last 10 minutes. That's all I need to win this. I don't have to pin her. I don't have to make her submit. And I think that was a big mistake for her because Athena was so ruthless in this match. She just beat the hell out of her. And every time she goes to pin her, she would still kick out. And I'm like, girl, just stay down because it's only going to get worse from here. And there's one part, Athena kicks her in the stomach, and I felt it. I felt it from where I'm at. And I'm just like, holy crap, girl, lay down and just lose. But she keeps on, lifting her shoulders every time every time Athena goes and pin her. So with Proving Ground matches, you just have to last 10 minutes. If you can last 10 minutes, you earn a title shot. And that was her tactic in this match, and it did not work out for her. Athena won like 6 or 7 minutes in with a submission by making her tap because this bitch was just not going to let her pin her. So after the match, Athena goes and attacks her. Billy Starks is outside the ring and she's watching and she feels so bad for her. The referee kind of stops it for a second by giving her her title and also trying to raise her arms, because she won. However, Billy, she snatches up Maserati and ends up rolling her under the ring so that by the time that Athena were to pay attention, she won't see Maserati and the beatdown is over. So thank God for Billy Starks and making sure that she was going to go home back to her family in one piece. So backstage, we have Lexi with Lee Johnson. She's basically talking about how he's a fucking loser and he loses every week. All right, they didn't say it like that, but it's basically what they were talking about, how he's just losing every week. And here comes Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty. They're like, you know what? You're a loser, but there's something special about you. If you want to join our group and not be a loser anymore, we're open to that. Now, Lee Johnson doesn't respond, but it looks like he might be thinking about it. Up next, we have QT versus Daga in a title match for the AAA Latin American title. Now, because the title was on the line, I figured there's just no way it's going to change hand on a tape show. It just doesn't really make sense. However, I did enjoy this match. And I know a lot of people, they sleep on QT. QT, he comes out, he's a stooge, makes people laugh, do stupid shit. And most of the time, he ends up jobbing. He's one of the trainers, and I hear he's one of the writers or whatever. And apparently, he's not doing a good job at that either. But he's really great in the ring. So this is a match I do recommend watching. He does end up taking the win. And, I think it's interesting because weeks ago he did a really, really strong promo on Rampage. And it was so good. I was like, holy shit, we're about to see something really cool with QT. And yeah, that was it. I just don't understand why we start stuff and don't finish stuff. It just doesn't make sense, especially when things are really interesting. They just seem to pull back on things. Now, I know QT's been pretty busy defending the AAA title at other promotions, but it's like, why do we start stuff and just keep people guessing and wondering what could have happened? He could have really had a nice little run, even though he's holding another promotion's title. They dropped the ball on that. Up next, we have one of my favorite matches of the night. We had the Infantry versus Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty. The chemistry with all four of these guys is insane. They are super, super talented. I didn't really care who was going to end up taking the win because all these guys really impressed me, and there is hope for the tag division in Ring of Honor. I have noticed that, some of these tag matches, they have picked up in quality. So I'm really looking at, which one of these guys are going to be next to go against obviously MJF, because there's no way Adam Cole's going to end up defending those titles. Because it seems like the Righteous had an opportunity and somehow they've fallen off the map. Once again, we're starting something and we're just not finishing it. So, like I said, these guys, all four of them have really great chemistry, and I like what they're doing, trying to build up the division. Shane and Lee, they don't have too much experience tagging with each other. So the inexperience in terms of, I don't want to say chemistry, but just them not having as much experience as Carly and Sean are two different things. So, the Infantry was able to shine a little bit more in this match. However, Shane Taylor takes the win for his team, and I love how they've been building them up lately. And honestly, Lee Johnson could definitely benefit if he joins Shane Taylor Productions. So backstage, we have Lexi and Billy. They have been doing minion training. And Billy's feeling some type of way because obviously Athena is favoring Lexi over her. Lexi has her bestie shirt that she wears with Athena, while we have Billy Starks, who is still wearing a Minion shirt. Now, Diamante and Mercedes, they come out, putting their nose in their business and like, you know what? Athena don't give a damn about you. She's just using you until she whoops your ass. And that Lexi's really her best friend and she's just using you to do whatever she wants since you're just nothing but a minion to her. Now, Billy seems to feel some type of way about this because I'm thinking that maybe she actually agrees. But Lexi's telling her, no, girl, that's not true. We really love you. And I'm like, well, I don't know about Athena, but maybe you do. Up next, we have Angelico versus Marty Casal. This was a fun but short match. Now they're building up Angelico to be the next person to go for the world title against Eddie Kingston. For what reason? Jesus Christ, I have no idea. However, the crowd was really behind Marty. I believe Marty is from Seattle. That's where they were taping the show. So everybody was cheering for him pretty much throughout the whole match. And that doesn't really does any favors for Angelico at this point. But anyway, Marty was actually making the match interesting by kind of being a little off his rocker. One of my favorite things he did in the match was when Angelico was slamming his head onto the turnbuckle like a couple of times and he stopped, then Marty is looking at him like, why you stop? Keep going. But Angelico doesn't. So he goes and he slams his head onto the turnbuckle about like 10 times. And I'm just like, whoa, what the hell? And Angelico's looking at him like he should say a prayer for him. But either way, Angelico ends up taking the win via submission. And really, I just don't understand why he's getting a title shot. Matter of fact, if I were to think of other people to take a match against Eddie Kingston, I would not be thinking about Angelico, not one bit. So up next, we have Mercedes versus Lady Frost. Now, there's not too much to say about this other than that Mercedes absolutely just drug Lady Frost throughout the whole ring. She's also being really ruthless, just like Athena. And in some ways, they're pretty similar. And I do believe that Athena got the title from her, right? I'm not 100% sure, but I think she did. I want to see them go at it again. Something about them are really interesting, and I feel like they have like the same energy. And to see them back in the ring will be really cool. So I'm hoping that gearing towards the final battle pay-per-view, which should be in December, that we end up having these two go at it, because I think that would be the most interesting outcome out of all the girls on the roster. But either way, we do have Mercedes that ends up taking the win. So things are pretty interesting in the women's division. And dare I say this, that by the end of the night, I kept feeling like, damn, things are seeming to be more interesting with the women's on Ring of Honor right now compared to the women on AEW. I'm just telling the truth. So up next, we have Mark Sterling, who is letting Josh Woods know that he needs a coach, despite that he's been doing very well lately. And his coach is Pat Buck. So I'm like, oh shit, this is cool. I don't mind this. However, Josh is offended. He's like, bitch, I don't need no damn coach. Better yet, I don't even need Pat Buck. Now, Pat, he's feeling insulted by what Josh is saying. So he's like, you know what? You feel like you don't need a coach? Well, how about next week I teach you a little something in a Pure Rules match? And I'm like, holy shit, we're getting this. This is going to be good. Now, Pat, he's only wrestled one time in Ring of Honor, maybe like a month ago, and he showed everybody that he still got it. So that was a really cool way to show people that, you know, whenever they call him up to get in the ring, he ready, because he stay ready. So I'm looking forward to that. Pure Rules matches are some of my favorite matches. Now, we do have another match that probably was match of the night for me, Layla Hirsch versus Willow Nightingale. In terms of the match that we had last week with Layla, it was not as great. However, these two girls, holy shit, like I was not expecting for them to throw down like that with each other. They had really great chemistry, and I felt like Layla's feeling some type of way about losing, obviously not being able to get the title last week, but she's still on a roll. Now, she was dominating this match. I want to say like it was like 70-30 with Layla. She was doing much better. My eyes were more on her. Willow, she had hurt her shoulder early in the match. So it seemed like, you know, Willow wasn't going to take this win. And I was just thinking, I'm ready to get on the camera and rant about how Willow keep losing, how she won that Owen Hart tournament for no fucking reason. But then she ends up taking the win. I was super surprised. I really was, because Layla, I think she did look better in this match. However, Willow, she held her own, but with her playing off that shoulder injury, we got to see better of Layla in this match. Probably the best match of the night. I really did find it to be interesting, but I'm wondering where are we going with Layla from here? She proved to us last week that she is definitely one of the best wrestlers in the women's division, and I think she proved that again this week too. However, she just wasn't close enough to get the win. Okay, so I did forget to mention that after the match, we do have Layla that attacks Willow Nightingale, and Sky Blue comes out and saves the day. They've been, looking out for each other, Willow and Sky, and I don't know if you guys remember, but recently they've been having matches with Julia Hart, and they've both been sprayed by the mist in the face. Now, tonight we finally got a chance to see, I don't remember Willow, but definitely Sky Blue. Her eyes have that black makeup around it, so she looks kind of like what Julia did before she ended up joining the House of Black. So it was interesting to see them showing that. I felt like maybe they kind of was trying to get away from that story a few weeks ago, but it seems like they're continuing with that. So I'm interested to see where things go. And I'm just feeling like things are being more interesting with the women in Ring of Honor right now. So I want to see if this is going to end up that they're going to join the group, or maybe they have their own group, like a women's version of the House of Black. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see. Now, up next, I think maybe this might have been the match of the night. Gringo Loco versus Action Andretti. These two guys have amazing chemistry, and their styles are very similar. And I didn't realize that until the two of them were in the ring. When they start off their match, they were pretty much kind of doing like this twin telepathy thing where it's like they're doing the same things that the other one is doing. They know what each other are thinking. Then later on, they end up branching out and doing their own thing, and they end up shining on their own. And oh my gosh, they just complement each other so well in that ring. Now, I'm sorry to say this, but Gringo Loco, he's super talented, but he built like somebody middle-aged daddy, and he moves like a teenage gymnast. Like the way he moves is absolutely flawless. And Action Andretti too. He's been doing a lot of tag team stuff, trio stuff, but to see him on his own after we've been seeing him tagging for a while was really refreshing to see how he holds his own by himself. And I really enjoyed this match. Every move executed perfectly. These two guys have high flying styles. And unlike some of the other luchadors who are in AEW Ring of Honor, there's no hesitating between moves. There's no, I'm watching and making sure that I'm going to be careful. Like they were confident with every single thing that they did. And that felt so good. However, we have Action Andretti taking the win, and I'm cool with that. Didn't matter which one of them won. And I really, really feel like had we really have these titles being defended on Ring of Honor, someone like Action Andretti can actually be holding a singles title or maybe even tag. We got to do better about these titles in Ring of Honor. So we're back again with these weekly interviews with Ethan Page, and I'm over it, so I'm not even going to talk about it. It's the same old, same old. After that, we do have Billy Starks versus Rochelle Riveter. The match was okay, didn't really care. What was interesting was after the match, Diamante and Mercedes attacked Athena and Billy Starks. Put a beat down on them. I haven't seen anybody manhandle Athena like this. In a very, very long time. So it was really interesting to see that. So I'm pretty sure we're going to get some tag team action with these girls. While I don't think it's bad to put this on Ring of Honor, why not put this on Collision or well, no, let me not say Rampage. Why not put it on Collision? People will definitely like to see this. That will have people a little more invested into their feud, and maybe some people might come on to subscribing to the Honor Club. Who knows? I think that would be a really good idea if they would put that match up on one of the bigger shows. So we had another great match. We had Kip Sabian versus Anthony Henry. Now, I was on my way to the kitchen when they announced that this was next because I didn't know. And I literally made a U-turn right back in my room and sat down to watch because I was like, holy shit, these two guys, they're also very similar in style as well. And they did not disappoint. I've been saying Anthony Henry, who's part of the Workhorsemen, so you guys probably seen him on Collision recently with JD Drake. He is someone that could definitely do singles on his own. He is very impressive, especially when he's in the ring with the right opponent. And someone like Kip Sapien really brought out the best in him as well. But I was really surprised to see Kip end up taking the win because he always loses, especially when he's in the ring with the Butcher and the Blade. So this was interesting. I really hope that we're going to keep seeing Kip on Ring of Honor. It just seems like they don't know what to do with him on AEW. I really wish they would keep these rosters separate so that people will get a chance to shine, and then so that some of these booking don't kind of contradicts each other, because it's a little bit weird to be losing all the damn time on one show and then you win on the other. It's weird, but it was a really great match. Now, after that, we do have Griff Garrison and Cole Carter and Maria. They haven't been on the same page. However, they both have their eyes on the tag team gold. So now they're going back to the drawing board so that they can be pretty much on the same page so that they can end up getting some gold. Now, right now, these two ain't selling me. However, I do think that if they are able to work together and show that they have great chemistry with each other, that it's possible that, they could be a really great tag team. However, we still have MJF with the titles, so we'll see how long it lasts. Maybe they have a little bit of time to get some experience with each other before possibly getting a title shot for the Ring of Honor tag titles. So next we have Christopher Daniels versus Ethan Page. So, Ethan been running his mouth for the past few weeks, every week, but this time he finally got his best match that he's had since he's been in Ring of Honor. I knew it was going to take Christopher Daniels to really be the one to take it out of him. He's one of the OGs of Ring of Honor, and he doesn't have a problem putting over young talent. So he really helped Ethan look really good tonight. At times I did feel like, Ethan, you in trouble, boy. But he ends up taking the win, which is really no surprise. Now, he really needed this because I feel like some of his other matches were just too short to truly see how talented he is. However, Christopher was able to, keep the match a little bit on the longer side and able to show a lot of Ethan's strengths in this match. So it's really great that we have people like Christopher Daniel who does not have a problem with putting over the younger talent. Now, after Ethan wins in a pretty good match, here comes Mark Sterling and Tony Nese, and they propose that Ethan should join their group, the Premier Athletes. And I'm like, you know what? He would actually look great with them, but I don't think this is a good thing for him right now. And Ethan asked the audience, should he join their group? And since there's like only 3 people in the damn audience, you could barely hear them reacting with Ethan. And I was like, Ethan, you were better off not asking anybody anything and just answering for your damn self, because it was dead silent. Now, obviously, he ends up not taking their invitation to the group, and Tony Nese is feeling some type of way about it. So they're going to have a match with each other next week. I do think that that's going to be really great because Tony Nese is someone else who does put people over pretty great as well. But he always looked good in the ring. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Now, I'm not going to lie. I thought that was the main event, but we had one more match. I was kind of over it at this point. They have no commercials. They don't give you a minute to breathe in between these matches. And I just felt over it at this point. But the main event was Darius Martin versus Scorpio Sky. And I'm like, all right, Scorpio Sky, I don't mind having something pretty to look at. They have a really great match, but it was too short for a main event. Like, well, what was the point? And throughout the match, I'm just looking at the crowd and I'm like, oh my God, there's only like 3 people in here. What is going on? Ring of Honor, Tony Khan, I don't know. I just did not like how that looked at all. Now, Darius Martin, he is actually improving doing singles matches. Early on, after his brother ended up breaking his leg, his first few singles matches was garbage, where it was just like, put me out of my misery. I don't want to see this dude on his own in the ring. But he's definitely have been stepping it up as a singles competitor. However, Scorpio Sky is doing much better in the ring. He ends up taking the win. And it didn't really compare to that match that he had last week with Fred Rosser, but he still looked good. I'm kind of curious as to what they're going to do with him in Ring of Honor. They're saying a lot of great things about him on commentary that kind of makes me feel like he could possibly be one of those top stars. But for the millionth time, you guys, because they're not doing anything with the titles of importance at Ring of Honor, it's really hard to tell who is going to be one of the top guys because we just don't know. We got the Young Bucks who has the 6-man tag titles for no fucking reason. Samoa Joe hasn't been on Ring of Honor TV since the last pay-per-view. It's just ridiculous. The tag titles is obviously in AEW as well. Eddie Kingston, he got another title, so he's gonna be busy. He's just gonna come whenever he can. It just doesn't make sense. Tony Khan, you need help? Give me a call. I will definitely give you advice if the price is right, and I'm pretty sure it would be. Guys, thanks so much for watching my review. I'll be back tomorrow with Rampage. Bye.